There's Blake to Roy. This is for the win.
Does this look familiar to you? Before Damian Lillard came to town, Brandon Roy was the face of the Blazers and probably the third best shooting guard in the NBA behind Kobe and Wade.
Roy's probably the best player I've played against. To me, he's the best shooting guard.
This was right after B. Roy posted 27 points per game on 47% from downtown against his Rockets in the 2009 playoffs. To average 27 on Prime Artest, who's one of the best defenders ever, is not a joke. Heck, even Kobe admitted in 2010 that he's the toughest opponent to go up against. Except, Brandon did have a weakness. It was his bad knees that cut his career short at just 26 years of age, right before he reached his peak.
The Minnesota Timberwolves select Brandon Roy from the University of Washington.
The most well-rounded player going in. Offensively, defensively, he's improved his shooting. The first guard selected in the 2006 draft.
Brandon was actually a Timberwolves pick, but got swapped for Randy Foye later on draft night. Imagine a duo of him and Kevin Garnett. Maybe KG never leaves Minnesota, who knows? Anyway, Roy impressed everybody in his debut, scoring 20 points against Ray Allen and the Sonics in a tight win on the road.
Under 2 to play here in the third. Roy, what a crossover, and he finishes at the rim. Roy again crosses over on Ray Allen, leaves him in the dust, and Roy draws the double, finds Randolph. Shot clock at 2. Brandon's got to go up with it, and he hits it again.
However, his health problems would start immediately as he missed 20 of his first 25 games of the season due to a severe pain in his left heel, which can be caused by bigger knee problems. Adversities are a part of life, but it's all about how we deal with them and bounce back. This is why I've partnered with BetterHelp, the sponsor of this video, to maintain good mental health through therapy. We can all get in our heads when facing difficulty at work or school, athletes go through it during injuries and losses, or for me, when videos are not quite performing the way I think they should. A therapist will listen, ask questions, and help you see things from a new perspective. And nowadays, it's so easy. You can use my link, betterhelp.com/heatcheck, fill out a questionnaire, and BetterHelp will match you to a professional who has years of experience in as little as a couple of days. Best of all, you can talk to your therapist via text, phone, or a video call. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. Visit betterhelp.com/heatcheck and enjoy a 10% discount on your first month. Regardless, when he returned to the floor, he continued doing what he knows best, and that is putting the ball in the basket.
Brandon Roy's back in the game, and he's got the basketball. He's their glue guy. The rookie from Washington, Rookie of the Year. Over Bynum. He ties it up at 70. Going strong all the way to the hole. And a layup. 31.2 and a timeout for the Lakers.
For a very young Blazers team that was led by the 25-year-old Zach Randolph, Roy averaged 16.8 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 4 assists per game on 45% from the field. That was more than enough as he won the Rookie of the Year award almost unanimously. With Z-Bo gone to the Knicks in a trade for Channing Frye, Roy was quickly giving the keys to the franchise.
Slight difference, shot clock and game clock. Roy pulls up over Shaq and hits. Jarrett Jack for a 3, short, rebound. Roy inside, takes it back to the hoop and it scores, and he's fouled. That a gutty play by your leader. The run was 14-0. Roy gets loose, goes left side and lays it in with the left hand.
Brandon delivered, putting up 19 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 5.8 assists per game in his sophomore year. And in December, Portland went on an amazing stretch, winning 13 consecutive games, with Roy leading the way with almost 23 points per contest. He was doing some ridiculous stuff on the court. Look at him switching hands mid-air for the layup, leaving everybody in awe. The steady rising earned him the first All-Star nod. With him and LaMarcus Aldridge as the 1-2 punch, the Blazers finished the season with a surprising 41-41 record. That was good enough for the 6th seed in the East, but unfortunately for them, the West saw 8 teams winning at least 50 games that year, so Portland was left empty-handed again. But in the following season, with the additions of Nick Batum and Rudy Fernandez, as well as some good games from Greg Oden, the Trailblazers were on the rise, and B. Roy took his game to a whole nother level.
There's Blake to Roy. This is for the win. Brandon Roy with a 3-3 on the Blazers and beat the Rockets in overtime.
Roy may be the decoy. It's likely going to be outlawed. It is Brandon. 4 seconds. Roy to the middle for the game. Yes! buzzer! Yes! Brandon Roy has done it again!
His clutch genes and effortless style of play gave him the nickname The Natural. And the biggest scoring explosion of his career came in December against the Phoenix Suns.
Roy now against Hill. Roy dribbling left, pulls up with an elbow jumper right through. Roy has it against Richardson, 8 to shoot. Brandon drives into a crowd, down the lane, put it in and it's fouled! Roy back front court, Blazers look to reclaim the lead. A pull-up jumper, got it!
Roy fueled the Blazers to a tight win with a career-high 52 points, including the dagger at the end.
Back to Blake, to Roy, three-pointer for the lead! Yeah!
And he wasn't just a shooter. From time to time, he knew how to rock a crowd.
He's getting his opportunities, making the most. Roy goes inside and posterizes. Check some. Gio out of the ball game. Steve Blake back in. And they lob to Roy and he jams it down.
In his third season, he elevated his stat line to averages of 22.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game, earning himself a second straight trip to the star-studded contest.
Well, we said earlier they were playing defense. What's going on here? Off the backboard and Brandon Roy.
Brandon missed only 4 games and finished 9th in the MVP voting, leading Portland to a 54-28 record, capturing the 4th seed and securing a home court advantage in the Wild West. But that didn't mean nothing to the scrappy Houston Rockets, who came in furious in Game 1 and gave the Blazers a 27-point beatdown.
Here's Brooks. All the way to the basket, counted at the buzzer.
With T-Mac sidelined by injuries, Aaron Brooks shocked everybody by leading all scorers with 27 points, announcing his one-year offensive prime. In Game 2, Brandon Roy made sure to weather the Rockets' storm and put things into their place.
And I hope Roy is the guy that takes the shot. Roy with Brooks on him for 3. Got it! Yes! Battier, the defense, step back by Roy, and he hits it long too. Roy crossover, needs help, drops it to Prisbilla, fortunate to be there. Now Joel needs some help. Roy, step back 3, got it!
A phenomenal 42-point game on 56% efficiency, guiding the Blazers to a series tie. And mind you, all of this in the face of elite defenders like Ron Artest and Shane Battier. Game 3 in Houston was a very low-scoring slugfest. Unfortunately for the Blazers, Roy earned his 6th foul late in the game and had to sit down and watch his team fall 2-1 in the series. Game 4 was quite similar, a low-scoring battle that came down to the wire. The last 2 minutes turned into chaos as neither team could score the ball. Finally, Roy goes hard to the rim, hoping to get 2 free throws, but the refs call an offensive foul. And that proved to be too much for the Blazers to come back from, as they fell into a 3-1 hole. Game 5 in Portland gave the young Blazers duo a chance for redemption, and they took it.
5 on the shot clock. Roy right in Battier's face. That's the best shot of the game, and the lead is 9 for Portland. Roy right into Yow's face, and he scores again. A 15-0 for the Blazers. They're up by 11.
25 points apiece from Roy and Aldridge proved to be too much for Houston to handle. Regardless, the Rockets came prepared to finish the job at home in Game 6. Led by Ron Artest and his 19 first-half points, the Rockets took a 15-point lead at the break and never looked back. And despite moving on to the second round, Artest was quick to give praise to Brandon Roy for his performance against him.
He's a better player than Kobe Bryant, a better player than LeBron James?
He's the best player I played against.
Are you saying that just because he's your opponent in this series?
Yeah, he is. He's the best player I played against.
But little did Brandon know that this was going to be the first and last playoff run for him being fully healthy. Nevertheless, the Blazers gave him the well-deserved 5-year max during the summer, and in the following season, he made sure to deliver on the expectations.
Brandon for the lead, scoop shot, yes! Timeout Houston, 3 seconds left. That's Brandon Roy, Houston.
The natural turned into one of the clutchest players in the league. And on Christmas against the Nuggets and Carmelo, he exploded in one of the best performances of his career.
Share as Roy knifes in. Wow. And you put those 5 guys together, Lex, it's a pretty good first team in the NBA. Roy, tremendous athletic move with the slide step and the powerful finish. Roy trying to break down the Nate, steps back, and oh, that was salty. Brandon Roy tonight with 33 big ones, splits a pair of defenders off the screen from Howard and laid it up and in with the left hand. Jack Ramsey leading from the sideline. Here's Roy for 3. Brandon Roy having one of those out-of-body experiences with 41 big one.
41 points on 61% efficiency, securing the win on national television over Denver. His extraordinary play and averages of 21.5 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists per game earned them the third straight trip to the All-Star game. In March of 2010, he put up another masterpiece against the Warriors.
Against Morrow, the drive here by Roy. What a beautiful play with the left hand.
The only guy right now that's keeping Portland in the ball game is Brandon Roy, 9 of 12.
Brandon dropped 41 points again on 64% from the field. He was practically unguardable. Look at him detonating over David Lee and the Knicks off the miss.
Tried to reverse it. Roy, he picks it up and puts it down over David Lee.
During the year, he missed 14 games due to a hamstring injury, which wasn't anything serious. But then, disaster struck in the 80th game of the season against the Lakers. Roy hurt his right knee and had to undergo a surgery on April 16th. But against all odds, after missing the first 3 meetings of the playoffs against Phoenix, he surprisingly came back for Game 4, just 9 days after the procedure.
And Brandon Roy will enter this game and listen to this crowd.
This was probably one of the costly mistakes that cut his career short. Clearly affected by the nagging knee, Brandon couldn't do much as he averaged only 10 points per game in limited playing time. So Portland was no match for the third-seeded Suns led by Nash and Amari, who moved past to the second round in 6 games. For the 2010-2011 season, Roy was cleared and back in the lineup, looking as good as ever in his first 3 games, dropping 20+ points in all wins for his team. But then, as the season progressed, another tragedy hit Brandon. His left knee, which he had problems with ever since high school after 2 meniscus surgeries throughout the years, literally gave up on him and started swelling, causing him some serious pain. So he missed 35 games but still gave the fans something to cheer about when he was on the floor.
Roy got the defender in the air, hit the 3, tied at 97. Here's Lawson. Lawson with 3, Lawson to the bucket, no! We are going to overtime.
The Blazers weren't Roy's team anymore, as LaMarcus Aldridge along with Wesley Matthews, Andre Miller, and Nick Batum handled most of the responsibilities. Although as healthy as he could have been at this stage, Brandon started the playoffs off the bench against the Mavs in 2011. And after scoring just 2 points in the first 2 games which Portland lost, the natural made sure to leave the game he loves with a bang.
Roy right to the rim with this guy with the ball in his hands, and he delivered many times. With the left, Brandon Roy! Cut off by Chandler. Wallace. Here's Roy. It's a 2, and it's good. A double-double performance for Sean Marion here in Game 4. Brandon Roy! Brandon Roy, the 3, count it, and there's a foul! And a chance for a 4-point play, Matt, here to tie up this game.
In Game 4, down by 18 in the 4th quarter, when everyone thought it was all over, B-Roy took over the game like he's back from the dead and did the impossible.
Yeah, after checking the video, Roy for the lead, banks it in! 84-82!
Oh my goodness, Roy wins the game for Portland, tying the series at 2 apiece. Unbelievable. Looking back at it, knowing that this was his last great performance in a Blazers uniform, it kinda reminds me of Kobe's last game against the Jazz. His knees were far gone as he had no cartilage left between the bones, but still managed to put up one last iconic show. So at the start of the next season, Brandon was forced to announce his retirement.
We right now are covering a basketball tragedy. Brandon Roy, after just 5 years in the NBA, forced to retire, lacking cartilage in both knees. This is just a gigantic bummer as we start the 2011-12 season.
A young guy in his prime, he still wants it, but his body just can't hold up.
After missing the entire 2011-2012 season, Roy had a sudden change of heart and made a return to the basketball court in a Timberwolves jersey. But it only took 5 games for his knees to remind him why he retired at 26 years of age. He bumped into another player, resulting in his 8th knee surgery. Man, that's a lot of time under the knife. Luckily, he accepted reality and since then is a high school coach and a loving father to 4 kids. His oldest son, Brandon Roy Jr., is actually committed now to the Washington Huskies, the college Roy used to play for. So history can repeat itself. We just hope without the injuries. Still, the real basketball fans will always remember B. Roy as one of the purest scorers to ever play the game. And And speaking of that, Ray Allen is another guy of the same caliber, but many people seem to forget about his athletic prime with the Bucks. He used to posterize fellow NBA superstars left and right. I documented his best plays from his time in Milwaukee right here in this video, so click right here and check it out. Talk to you in the next one. Peace out.